And we're back.
We are.
That was the time warp, obviously.
Everybody knows that was the time warp.
It was a great song, wasn't it? A really good rendition last night, I thought.
Yeah,
definitely.
Nice of Dom to come in and talk to us about that.
So we have a new guest in the studio. We're churning them out tonight. Damon.
Just millions of guests. It's fantastic.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Kyle's here to talk about the parkour experience, which has been going on here in Dartington.
Yeah, so that's actually my business name. So I teach freerunning and parkour, and so I've been down here today with my club. Had one of my guys down here as well, and we've been showing everyone what to do, like do some challenges and like flip over some people too, which was really fun.
Did you get flipped?
No, we missed that bit.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine.
So yeah, we had a photographer down as well, and he got us somersaulting over some people, which was really cool. So hopefully get some good photos for the festival.
Yeah, that would be really good.
How did you get involved in the festival?
So I know Sarah Jane, and I've been working with them since I was 19. And I set up my business, so I'm 26 now, and I've been working with Play-Doh Bay for a long time, doing all sorts of events and teaching. And she said, would you like to come down? And I was like, definitely, because I live in Totnes, so anything that goes on in Totnes I would like to be involved in, especially if it's movement and parkour related.
So you did parkour with Play-Doh Bay?
Yeah, so I've taught with Play-Doh Bay, and I've done performances with Play-Doh Bay, which Sarah and the other guys are all used to be a part of.
Nice.
So, how long have you been in this business? How long has this been your business?
That's a really good question. I started freerunning when I was 13 years old, and I started teaching at 19, so I set up my business at 19, and I've been doing it ever since then, so that's about 7 years now. It was 2011 I started.
So it's like something you've always loved doing?
Yeah, I was, since 16 I've been in like newspapers and magazines for doing parkour. Like around the area and further. And one time, Tone Leisure Centre, the leisure centre in Totnes, said, would you like to come teach? And I said, I don't know, I never taught before, let me give it a go. And I turned out to really enjoy it, I turned out to be okay at it, and I've carried on doing it ever since and turned it into a full-time job. So yeah, I've been doing it pretty much every day since 2011.
So are you self-taught?
Yeah, I learned... So when we started, there was no clubs, there was no teachers. There was one big group in England at the time, so they come down and taught us for a couple of days when I was at Kevix. And yeah, mostly just like travelling, meeting people, and just learning the hard way. Now it's really easy because you have like YouTube and loads of stuff. Like you have so much stuff accessible.
Yeah.
Like we had YouTube, but
the world's best javelin thrower learned how to throw javelins off a YouTube video.
Yeah, like stuff is so much easier to learn, and once it's been done, the next person can do it twice as fast, twice as better, and they go, oh, I'm going to add something extra in. And then once that person's done that, it goes up a step again and again. So yeah, it always keeps improving.
What's your favourite trick to do?
That's all. I always get asked that question, like, what's your best trick? What's your favourite trick? It's a really hard question, like if from a perspective of if you do parkour, because you don't really see them as tricks; they're just things you do. But I can do like front flips, back flips, side flips. I flipped between buildings before, which has been cool.
Wow.
But like I just like vaulting and balancing, just fun stuff. I like to play, and I like to like do loads of spinny movements, just muck around. So I did like a weird breakdancing type movement earlier on top of a big vault box. So that was cool.
So they don't necessarily have names, the moves that you do. It's not like when you go and learn yoga. So today I've learned how to do the cat. It's not.
Yeah, so there are like the moves do have names, but like you don't really think of them as tricks unless like it's like if you think of it in a competitive way, then you can have a trick, right? Then you can do a better trick than that and a better trick than that. But like the moves have names in terms of teaching. So I was teaching you to step vault. Remember, you put your hand down, your foot down, you step through the middle, right? It's simple. And then we take away the foot. You just put your hand down. So now you're doing a speed vault because you're going faster. It just makes it easier to understand as well. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you can just link loads of stuff together and just muck around.
Wow.
It's cool. It's really cool.
And what's the difference between free running and parkour?
So that's a really good question because when parkour first came over here around like 2001, there was a documentary called Jump London, which kind of brought it over here. It's been going in France for a long while in the suburb of Nice, and what happened was they didn't really know what to call it, so it started to be called free running over here. That was like the English terminology, but over time they've kind of Well, I've kind of seen it go like two different ways. So you've got parkour, which is getting from point A to point B as fast as you can, and free running is, look how pretty I can move. Look at me do cool stuff, right?
Oh, I thought it's the other way around, actually.
No, so parkour means the way, and in French it's like l'art de placement, the art of displacement. So it's like going from one place to another, moving. And you can like look at it in terms of escapism compared to martial arts, which is a form of self-defense. So one can save you from danger, one can defend you from danger. You could look at it that way.
Yeah. So how many like people are kind of involved with this kind of business?
Oh, my club.
Yeah.
So I do everything myself full time. I've been doing that for a long time. I have a couple of great guys that I've grown up with doing parkour. And when I need them, they'll come help me with events. So they'll come help me with a Totnes show or other big events. And I have a junior team. So that's students I've trained. And they, like Finn today that was helping me, I've been training him since he was like 13. And he's almost as good as me. He's better, but don't tell him. He just needs to be way more confident. So, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. I have like several different people I just call upon when I need them. Like I went filming around the UK recently. I did loads of filming for a big shopping mall group called Hammerson, and they own the Bullring in Birmingham, the Oracle in Reading, and loads of big shopping malls. So we went filming around the country for them. We were in the shopping malls from 5 o'clock at night to 3 o'clock in the morning, filming non-stop. And that was maybe a big film crew, drones, everything. It was so cool. We dressed up as Christmas elves and got to film in like the Disney store and stuff, which is really cool. And you can find those videos on my YouTube, which is just Parkour Experiences.
So, what's your favourite place that you've done parkour? Like, not necessarily like teaching people, but like just doing?
I really like Totnes because everyone's so happy and nice, like, and everyone's just like really like accepting of it. I've been to some really cool places, like when I was in Athens, there was a great places there. So every time I go abroad, I try and train. In Iceland, when I was training over there, they had a great gym, and the head coach over there, who's a really good friend of mine, there's a really good atmosphere, and there's some amazing people over there. Oldway Mansion in Paynton is a really spectacular place as well, because it's just really beautiful, and the architecture is really nice. And we always try and look after where we train as well. We don't want to like break anything, because if we didn't respect our environment, we wouldn't have anywhere to go. So we always try to clean up. We always try and like maintain the area. And if anything ever gets broken, because I've broken a bench before while training, I just rang up the council. And as soon as I got home, I was like, look, I did this. I'm sorry. I do apologise. And they were like, okay, that's cool. Thank you for letting us know. They were a bit shocked I let them know as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because most people don't expect someone to call them up
exactly.
Saying, oh, I accidentally broke this. It's like when, say, someone kicks a football into your back garden and breaks one of your flower pots, you don't expect them to say, please, can I have my ball back?
I think it's really important just to be respectful, especially like since parkour gets like such a negative press sometimes. Like, oh, what are you doing on that building? What are you doing up there? It's like, we're just trying to move, you know, we're just trying to play and use our bodies, right? There's so many signs saying no ball games, don't do this, don't do that, don't play conkers at school. Just let us play, you know?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I was thinking about that, the sort of security risk to like buildings, let's say. Like, so you do it in cities and stuff?
I do it wherever I can go. Like when I was younger, I used to climb on buildings, stuff like that. I don't do it so much now because obviously I got my business to run and I'm always teaching, so it's not always the best thing to do. But it's a civil offence, but long as you're respectful, and especially respectful to the people around the area, respectful to the police, you know, like some kids nowadays would just run away, but I always like teach my students to go, okay, we're free running, we're doing this, would you like us to move on? No problem, done, we move on, you know, and as long as we look after where we go, it's fine. If someone's got a problem, we move. So yeah, I think
interesting.
Tolerance and respect, I think, is really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oldway Mansion. I'd like to see that covered in people doing parkour.
That'd be really fun. I've been going there since I was 13. Because I used to live in Paynton, and it's a public space as well. So a lot of the places we go are public spaces. And who's to say like, oh, you're not allowed to jump there? It's like, well, if that kid can do it and that person can do it, why can't I do it? But just in a more advanced way. And people go, oh, you're going to hurt yourself? Well, like you guys saw me flip today, right, and do somersaults. Yeah. Like I don't go, okay, I'm gonna step here, do a somersault. Like I don't think about it anymore because I've practiced it so much. It's just as natural as walking. Like you don't have to think about walking, you just do it. It's the same for when I do a jump. Like because I've done it in so many different stages, broken it down so much. It's just a natural thing now. I don't have to think about it. It's just muscle memory.
Do you ever get really bored of parkour? Do you ever wish you did something else?
I love my job because it's given me the opportunity to meet loads of great people like you guys. It's given me lots of free time. So I only teach like in the afternoons or come and do events like this, which is great. So I have lots of free time to play video games. Video games all the time. Yeah.
Did you go to the retro gaming?
No, I didn't. I was teaching, unfortunately. But yeah, I love this job. I never get bored.
Might still be a few things in there.
Well, I actually collect video games as well. So if you go to my house, I have like a library of stuff. My wife just lets me have it all out. She doesn't care. It's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, loads of video games.
Yeah.
How many people on average go to your classes?
So I most probably have, when I teach outside, I have like, I'm allowed a set number because it's just a safety thing. Like if I had 20 people and it was just me, that would be really dangerous, right? 20 people climbing up buildings, I can't catch everyone. So I'd say around 10 is a good number for my outside lessons, and I normally have between sort of 5 to 10 people per lesson. Inside I have a few more, goes up to 15 sometimes, and all ages as well. And I've done like 1-to-1, which is really good. And the quieter it is, the more focused I can be on that individual. But sometimes they'll end up just like almost passing out because I've worked them so hard, you know?
Yeah. You said you taught yourself parkour and like you started doing it when you were 13, but like how did you start getting into it in the first place?
So we had this teacher called Mr. McMahon, who I'm trying to find still, because I want to let him know that I'm still doing it to this day. But he was from Australia, and he came out to me in school and said, "You're doing parkour?" And I'm like, I don't know what that is. I just jumped over a railing, right? He was like, "Oh, it's this, this, and this." And he showed it to me, and I was like, "That's awesome. That is so cool." So in our school, we got together in a big group. We organised a committee, and then for activities week at Kevix, we got the kids to we got the team to come down and teach us. We did a performance on painting green. It was amazing. So I've just been doing it since then. And I've had lots of opportunities to like meet different professionals and just meet different people doing parkour, which has been really great over the years.
Yeah, what type of people have you met?
Just all sorts. Like you'd be surprised. Like a lot of people that do parkour don't like normal sport because it's just play football, play rugby. Like they're all team games, they're all competitive, but parkour just lets you work on you. So if I'm teaching Finn or something, right, we can get a little bit competitive to help him push, but there's no competition. It's just I'm trying to do this one thing, and I want to get personally better, right? So that's what you're trying to do, you know. So when you're training together, it's really relaxed, and everyone's just having a good time because they just want to improve on themselves.
It's kind of a bit like gymnastics meets the environment.
Yeah, in a way. The philosophy's different, but we take like techniques from gymnastics. But parkour, like I think it comes from tribalism. So it was originally French, and I think it was William Bell. He took it looking at how tribesmen moved in the forest for the French military and called it les parcours combattants. And then so it was used for like obstacle courses and how to move around those and like naturally. And then he moved away with his son to the city in Nice, the suburb of Paris, and then it got developed from there into like what we have now. And then we just take stuff, you know, the free running takes flips from gymnastics because they're cool, right? It's a way to push yourself. Parkour could use flips if it helps you get somewhere faster, but if it's not, it's unnecessary. It depends on how you look at it. But yeah, like I said earlier, I took a breakdancing move and used it, right, as well. So you just take stuff.
Yeah.
It's just natural movement.
Is there a lot of... Do you think parkour is almost, in a way, a sort of dance as well as kind of like...
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like when I'm teaching, I sometimes think about like how people move their feet. So I go like 1, 2, 3, like try and work out steps because you want to be as efficient as possible, right? So if you do 100 steps to something that's a foot in front of you, like it's really not efficient. You're like stuttering. So you want to do as less as possible. You want to think about where your body is and how you're going to move to the next thing.
Yeah, because I have this person I know called Declan, and he like does a lot of
I
hip-hop.
teach Declan.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah, he's really into dancing and stuff, and he's like, we did this like leavers assembly in year 6 in the church, and he did like dancing and like break dancing in the church, which is something you don't see every day, and like even the reverend was like kind of like moving his head to the beat, which is really
that's cool.
fun.
That's cool.
And like, it really reminds me of that almost.
I've been teaching Declan how to do somersaults lately. Like I'm really trying to push him into that. So I've been teaching him outside how to do that. He comes out with me like every Saturday at like 10 o'clock. We meet down at Morrison's. So he comes out there, and I like help him do that, and we have like loads of other kids, and I'm trying to help them do different versions of that as well. That's really cool.
So you meet at Morrison's for how long?
So every Saturday we meet at 10 o'clock at Morrison's, rain or shine, at the entrance. And we go around Totnes, Bridgetown, and other areas around, and we go around for 2 hours. So we come back at 12, and that lesson's £10. You can find more information about our like club and lessons are in the area. We're in Totnes, we're in Harpers and Ford, and then we go into Torbay, Paignton, Torquay, sometimes Plymouth, Brixham. So that's www.parkourexperiences.co.uk.
Shall we listen to some music?